Greetings and welcome, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, to episode 298 of the Words About Games podcast, a weekly news, culture, and gaming discussion podcast for Words About Games. I'm your host, Amy Kate Alexander, who's just now realizing she didn't bother doing a sound check, so fingers crossed. And I'm joined this week by Daff and Moody. Well, I know you're doing that on purpose because I know I can hear you. Yeah, we're good.
We're good. Well, wiggly lines. There's wiggly lines.
It's like
the bars.
The bar.
Bars are moving.
You know what the bar looks like.
Yes, I do. OBS.
OBS, baby.
OBS.
It's a magical thing.
It's Monday, everybody. I hope you know what that means.
I almost jumped the gun there. I was about to say, how you doing? And you hadn't even said the thing.
I know. But I got a Pikachu now, Amy.
Ooh.
I got a Pikachu.
Is that
with a red panda? With a red panda.
And a red panda. Somebody's been doing some retail therapy. I approve.
I don't know what you're talking about. At all. I don't know what you're talking about. Whatever.
It's like, what else have you got?
That's
Come on.
Deku from My Hero. That is fucking awesome. I think it looks so cool. Awesome.
It does.
I like it.
We like these
I like
things.
it a lot.
These things are cool.
I got nothing else. Do I?
I don't know. Do you?
No. Yeah, we got Mylin from Turning Red. I have Red Panda from Turning Red. Turning Red, great film. Check it out.
I would have thought you were going to say that. That is a shock to hear that you thought this was a good film. I'm shocked. Shocked, I tell you.
Pixar, they do good shit. They might be run by an idiot right now. Well, yeah, but they do good shit.
Oh, I'm warm. Did I close my window? Yeah, I closed my window. I'm warm. I don't like it.
I've shut my window because I'm cold.
How?
I don't know.
Teach me your secrets. I need to know. No,
I don't know. I'm a fat tub of lad.
And the feeling.
Somehow, I'm freaking freezing, for God's sakes. It's just wrong.
Yeah, like, I appreciated it yesterday.
You're not fat.
All right, mate. I appreciated it yesterday when I was outside. But even then, I didn't appreciate it a great deal because I was outside. And it was like, there's no cover from the sun anywhere. Yeah. So it's just constantly heat. But it was a nice cool breeze, you know, because you're out on the coast, right? So you get a nice cool breeze. It's that sweet spot where it's like, it's warm. And as long as you're not being a dumbass and like building a wardrobe and moving like everything around, like you'll be fine. Not like June, July time where I'll just be constantly complaining about it being too hot. And there is no reprieve. I hate summer. I'm just gonna go on record and say it. I hate it.
Yeah, I don't do good. I don't do good in the heat.
I don't do good. That's a great way of putting it. I don't do good in the heat. Someone was telling me, "Oh, it's gonna get colder," and I was like, "Good."
Yeah. My mother said that this morning. Shout out to all the mothers today. Happy Mother's Day on the day we are recording. You are all awesome. But yeah, my mother told me that the party next weekend is gonna be cold.
Yes.
So you know it's gonna be boiling hot then.
Well, you say that, but I went to go and see a lighthouse movie yesterday, and I don't know if you remember, but this was the third attempt at going to go and see this lighthouse.
That's true. Yeah.
The first time there was a blizzard, and somebody caught COVID. And the second time, there were 3 category red storms, one after the other. So, you know, the fact that the weather was more or less perfect yesterday was, well, you know what? I didn't believe it until I was standing on that beach in the sun. It was very refreshing, like for the soul, I think is what I said on Twitter. Like nature. Outdoors, it's good for you. Who knew? What a concept.
That's just true.
Yeah. Should just go and live by the beach. But then I imagine it's not so good to live by the beach in like December.
Stop. Good God, no. Jesus. But energy bills are already going up. You'll never keep the fucker off.
How's it going, Amy? Well, how's it going since you moved to the coast, Amy? Well, Moody, it was going really well in the summer. Like got a nice ocean breeze coming through. But like, it's January now. My house has just been swept into the sea. So, it swings around about.
Oh no.
But I'm altogether feeling, because I know we talked about like mental health and stuff last week, because our bad down portions of the podcast are really always like very funny and fun. I know we talked about mental health and stuff last week, but it's like I'm better this week.
Yeah, I was a bit blue yesterday, but I'm I have my days. It's just like days where you're just like, ugh.
Yeah.
More and more, and it's just like it's a right old pain in the backside.
I get that. I really do. Like I haven't streamed for a few weeks. Like but it wasn't like intentional. Like I've taken a mental health break from streaming, but it wasn't until it was like a week and a bit into the break that I realized I was taking a mental health break from streaming. So that's why I didn't tell anyone I was doing it, because I didn't even know I was doing it. I was just like, I'll stream later. I'll stream later. You know what I mean? And then it was just like, oh, I'm not going to stream. Like, oh, okay. Because it's fun and it's awesome and it's cool to hang out with people and stuff, but it's like, it's a lot.
It can be, yeah. Like I'm happy, like by the time this episode comes out, my partner will be home. And I'll be very much happy and a lot more comfortable right now.
Yeah.
I'm not comfortable. It's like the longest we've been apart for a long time. And I love, even though I've just shouted like all the mothers and everything like that, I love my mother to bits. She ain't... how do I do this right? She ain't the best to talk to sometimes when it comes to my mental health. Because I think it's a struggle for her to understand certain things because she's never had to go through anything like that.
Yeah.
And I can see where she's coming from for that, because like she was when we found out like another person in our life has bipolar. She didn't know how to handle it, and she was very distant. Of course, she was more afraid of she might say something that could tip one of us, or tip him overboard and everything like that. And it's like, and it's just like it's the same, but like the same.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, like I've had that. I had that difficult conversation with a parent 10 years ago, like when it was like, I think I have ADHD. Like it was the same situation, like they didn't really know. Like there's that generation. Like I feel like our generation, the millennial generation, was the first. was probably like the first generation that really sort of like started going, oh, I feel sad all the time. Maybe I should figure out why that is. And like you actually like take mental health a bit more seriously. So like I don't think like the generations that came before us are necessarily equipped to like sort of deal with that kind of thing.
The craziest thing about it, though, their generations arguably had more difficult stuff to handle compared to what we have. My granddad's generation went through 2 world wars.
Your granddad's generation, sure. World War II was bad. I'm not too sure about. I mean, Gen Z is fucking screwed. I'm just going to throw that out there.
The one after
that
is
it might not even exist for very long. But yeah, like we had it was a difficult conversation, and then we got through it, and I thought that's fine. We got through that difficult conversation. No more difficult conversations to have with a parent. Yeah, and then 2018, Amy went hold my beer.
It should be as funny as
it's hilarious. Don't worry about it. It really is hilarious. That's it. That's the one difficult conversation we're going to have. Why did that feel ominous? I don't know. It felt ominous for some reason. I'm sure it's nothing. But yeah, like Sophia, like she's in Portugal
Madeira.
right now, Madeira.
Madeira.
Yeah,
Portugal, yes.
I posted the photos on Insta from going to the coast yesterday. She commented on it saying jealous, and I was like, "Are you in Portugal right now? Like, how are you jealous of me?"
Shut up, you bitch! You're in Portugal.
Fucking northeast of England. I mean, it's a nice day, but still.
Well, the thing is, she came when she moved over here. She's said this multiple times. She specifically chose to come to the northeast. So
I mean, that's cool. Like, there's a lot of cool shit in the northeast, you know. Like, and like I said this to Amy, to Nelly, because that's who I was with yesterday. It's like I haven't been to the coast, like in like 8-9 years until yesterday, and like I was standing in the middle of the like fields in front of the beaches and stuff, and we were just standing in the middle of the field, and I was like looking all around me, like all this cool shit, like beaches, and there was a lighthouse and all this other stuff, and I was like, this has been here the entire time. Why have I never come here? Like in 9 years, why have I never been here? It's just weird, the things that you don't do when it's right there.
yeah, no doubt about it.
Like, I lived in Leeds for 4 years, and I never went to Leeds Festival, even though I've always wanted to go to Leeds Festival. Like, and it was right there.
That's the music thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I used to get off the train because I used to work like away from home for 3 of the weeks. I'd get off a train on like the Friday when Leeds Festival was happening, and it would just be full of people. The station would just be full of people going to Leeds Festival, and I'd look at my partner at the time and be like, "We should go to Leeds Festival next year." And I did that for 4 years, and then I left Leeds, and I'd never been. And now I'm sitting here living far away from Leeds, going, I should really go to Leeds Festival.
Not far.
It's not too far away.
Yeah. Only an hour's drive, an hour and a half drive.
Oh, well, yeah, I'll get right on that.
Faster on a train.
Faster if I'm driving, because I don't know how to drive.
Watch the car! Left!
Get out of the way!
Learn how to drive! Amy sticking her head out.
I would totally be me. Just like, learn how to drive, dickhead.
You're on the wrong side of the road!
It's faster this way.
Less corners!
Oh, God. What a week, though.
Yeah.
Got my contact lenses, look. I can see.
I know. You look awesome.
I do. Really like them.
Yes.
I was taking Insta selfies and I could see. This is a big step up for me.
It is a big step up. There's no doubt about it. She was walking blind and now she's like, yes!
As long as nothing goes wrong, I'm getting my nose pierced on Thursday.
Ew. I'm not a pierced person.
Do you know what's weird? I'm gonna gender up this conversation for a second.
Gender it up, Amy. You gender it right up.
Every woman I've said, I'm getting my nose pierced, has gone, oh, awesome. And then immediately been like, so what are you going to do next? Because like once you start, like it was started with ears. Like once you start, you keep going. And every man I've mentioned it to has had the same reaction of, oh, I don't like nose piercings.
I just don't like piercings in general.
And I just find it no, that's fine. Like
yeah.
I find it very strange that I've had that exact like split of like reactions.
Oh, my brother went extreme when it came to his piercings.
Because obviously not all men like hate nose piercings. It's just weird that like all of the men that I've told like directly, I'm getting my nose pierced, had the same like, oh no, I don't like that. I don't like nose piercings. And I'm like, well, it's a good job I'm not piercing your nose, isn't it?
God, your opinion isn't valid for mine. Go away now. I'm not a piercing tattooing person, which is really freaky because my partner has a tattoo.
I'm thinking about like I've got like half a dozen ideas for tattoos. So
yeah,
like at some point that's gonna happen. But
it will never make me go, I don't like you. type of thing. No, it's just, yeah. I just go, no. I won't let where my brother got his put one. I was like, hell no! Are you nuts?
I mean, yeah, some people will be like, oh, it hurts. And I'll be like, I spent 6 months getting a fucking laser blasted in my face. Like, I think I can handle it.
My brother said, hold my beer.
I'm sure, I'm sure it will hurt. It's just, I do things on purpose that hurt all the time. It's kind of what I do, you know? Like, I'm going to have a big halty beer moment in the next few years on that regard. Wee. I'm gonna have at some point I'm gonna have to organize this, like when it gets closer to the time, because I'm gonna have to have time off the podcast. 'Cause I'm not gonna be able to sit in a chair. I'll have to like tap someone in.
Slide down and put the laptop like that.
Oh yeah, sure. I'm not doing that.
Just tell someone to hold the laptop for you.
Just come here. See all this stuff here, like just point it all at me.
For 2 hours.
For 2 hours, and don't move.
And you can't speak either.
You have to pretend you're not even here. Keith, I need you. I know you said you couldn't be on the podcast anymore, but technically you won't be on the podcast.
That's true. I just need you to hold this.
Oh, he's going to tweet at us.
Oh yeah, he's going to tweet at us.
After that one. Let's get into it. This is the Words About Games podcast where you can... I need to like get a better segue, like sentence into this part. Like, the old one worked when we just used to do the whole intro all at once, but we don't do that anymore. So I need to figure that out. But you can get the video podcast on youtube.com/wordsaboutgamesuk or the audio version on a variety of platforms, including Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and a few that we've never even heard of. There's timestamps in the description wherever you choose to get your podcast, so you can watch the podcast in any order you want. You can pick and choose which parts you want to watch, or you can watch the whole podcast backwards. We don't mind. We're just happy that you're here. Lastly, if you want to hang out with us while we play some games, head over to twitch.tv/wordsaboutgames, where we are 100% exclusively thirsty Phasmophobia streamers.
Oh, we got thirsty.
You got thirsty, and that was before Phasmophobia.
Yep. Thank you, Phil and Erica.
Thanks, Phil and Erica. Thanks for that.
I don't know. Whole pegging thing.
I was going to say, like, they went from what's pegging, and then they never came back, and then they came back, and it was like, oh, look, she's got a bop it.
It's on stream, playing stuff.
But yeah, I'll either be back streaming this week, but it might be like this week's going to be tight for timing. So it's Saturday, sure, definitely. It might, but like my like regular streams might take a backseat for another week, and then I will be back into it in April, I guess. March's highlights video is going to be brief.
Still waiting for the February one.
I know. I've been on right mental health break. Okay. I got the January one out. I'm thinking about because I played Elden Ring like across like the 2 months. I'm thinking about just taking all the Elden Ring streams and putting them in the March video. Because you did stream quite a bit in February, so.
Did I?
We both did. Well, I did. You were there a lot because we played like a bunch of multiplayer.
I was in and out.
I played a couple of indie games. And then a shitload of Elden Ring. I think, like, of my 69 hours, I think I played, like, 20 plus on stream.
Nice.
It's just, like, I get to game, like, I need to find, like, that middle ground of, like, a game that I'm enjoying too much is a game that I don't want to stream because I just want to play it. And I don't play games, like, I don't sit down and play a game for, like, 4 or 5 hours at a time. Like, normally. I'll, like, sit down and I'll play it for, like, an hour. And then I'll go and have a sandwich. And then I'll come back and like I might play it for another half an hour, and then I'll have a shower, and then I'll come back and I'll play it for a couple of hours, and then I'll do something else, you know what I mean? And I like come back and forward on it. And then a game I'm not enjoying is no good for anybody. Like, who wants to watch me stream a game I'm not enjoying?
Well, you streaming Resident Evil 3 was pretty funny.
It was.
To see your dive into depression for that game was kind of funny.
It was like a 7-hour stream, wasn't it? something like that.
Yes. Yeah, something like that.
It was until about hour 6 or 7. Like, I kept it entertaining, but then eventually, like, it just got too much, and I was just like, and I was just having the worst time. And I was like,
Why
I can't.
is
I'm not
this
even
game
making this.
doing this?
I'm not even making this entertaining anymore. I'm just pissed off.
Nah, by the end of it, you were pissed off with the game. There's no doubt about it, which was funny to see.
But yeah, you got to find that sweet. Like Lost Judgment was perfect because it wasn't a game where I was like dying to play, but it was a game I was enjoying. So
yeah,
I could do the whole thing of like, oh, I can't stream it for another week. That's fine because I can wait another week to play another like 4 or 5 hour chunk of it. So like, I just need to like, I don't know. And then it's like the thing of like, I don't know which games I'm gonna love like before I play them. So it's like, how do I? You've got to try and like figure it out before you start playing.
Balance it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Elden Ring. I knew I was gonna love that game. So that was on me. But
if you came out saying you didn't love it, I was gonna be like, what? Who are you and where is Amy?
Well, the trouble is all the games I'm playing after.
Yeah, right now I've got 3 games on the docket that I hope to have a go at. And that's Not Tonight 2, Ollie Ollie World, and Far Changing Tides.
Yeah, my backlog is immense.
I'm not worrying about it.
Like, I'm in this sweet spot. You know what? We're gonna have a timestamp here. It's not gonna be the headline part of the podcast, but we're gonna have a timestamp here for just talking about our backlog. Because it's the Words About Games podcast. The games is right there in the title. Yeah, it's like it's a huge backlog. So I'm in this really cool place. Like people like might think, oh, you've got a backlog of 20 games. Holy shit! Like, how do you cope? And it's like, well, yeah, okay. Like my ADHD makes that difficult, but it's this nice sweet spot of having a massive pile of games, and then just going, so what do I fancy? Like, Elden Ring's backed up so many games that there's so many different types of games that like, so like I can look and it's like, oh, do I fancy Horizon? Do I fancy Triangle Strategy? Said the name right first time there. Like, do I fancy Tunic? And I did, and I played it, and I didn't jive with it, but Mooney did the review, so like I didn't need to worry about talking about it. Like, I've got this huge list of like all these different games, and I can just go, oh, like today I fancy a visual novel, or like, oh, maybe I fancy playing Far Changing Tides, or one of the many games I have installed, like ready to go. That's cool. Like, I actually prefer it be that way. Mm-hmm. Like, this is one of the reasons why I don't really get review codes, because when you get a review code, you have to play that game. And it's like, I like being able to choose what I play.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think you got a code for me, Chernobyl, like last year, and I think the pressure was on me, though. I feel like I had to force myself to play it, and that's why I think I was just never playing it.
Yeah,
because he's like, Moody, you have to do this. Moody,
no pressure. I'm getting some emails. I just need to know if you're gonna get this review. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Like I said, like I've had like 2 this year, like review codes, and I'm not going out after them unless it's something I know I'm gonna want to play as soon as it comes out. If someone had said, "Do you want an Elden Ring code?" I would have been like, "Fuck yeah, I want an Elden Ring code!" Like, because I will play that as soon as possible. But if somebody had said to me, "Do you want a code for Horizon Forbidden West?" I would have been like, "I'm good, thanks," because I don't think I'm gonna play that as soon as I get a hold of it. Which that's what happened. I got it, and I was like, "No, I'm all right, thank you. I'm gonna leave it. I've still got it." Of course, the one game I do want to play right now is Kirby. Boomerang did not send me Kirby. Don't know when I'm going to get to play Kirby. Quite annoyed.
Yeah, Postman's been a bit of a bastard for me. I returned my 2 games, and they still haven't got it yet.
Oh, wow. Like, I returned my 2 games. They got the 2 games. They got them well in advance. Because obviously I wanted Ghostwire and Kirby, and I got neither game. Mm-hmm. Which is good for my backlog, but I did really want to play Kirby.
Yeah. I was kind of tempted to, should I go out and just buy it? But I was thinking, nah.
No, I don't want to play it that badly.
Yeah.
Like I'll wait, I'll rent it, I'll play it, it'll be a good time. But
yeah, hearing good things, and that's all we want to hear. So
plus, there's a game come out. I can't remember which one it was that I was probably looking into buying. It's either come out or it's coming out soon. Well, it might be on the list this week. Well, yeah, it's fun. Like, yeah, you do have that pressure. when you're given a code because you 100% have to do the game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great when you're super excited for the game.
Yeah.
Like, I remember getting the code for Mass Effect Andromeda. I got a disc, actually. And like, that was awesome. Like, I got to play Mass Effect Andromeda, and I like, wrapped it up before the before the game even came out, and I had a good time with it. Separated from all of the discourse, because that all happened after I'd finished it. And on the flip side of that, I remember getting the disc for Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and I wasn't like, I liked Origins, so I thought I was going to really love Odyssey because the ancient Greece is like one of my favorite settings. And I obviously didn't jive with the game, but I was like, well, I mean, I've got to play it. Like, they gave me the game, and I have to play it. Mm-hmm. And it created a worse experience, I think.
Well, the difference though when it came to that game though was that you had to feel like you had to complete it before you had to review it. You were under different circumstances then to quite compared now. If you were under the circumstances you are now, I think you probably would have played maybe 10, 15 hours of it.
Well, I did. I played 10 hours of it, I think, and then I did a...
Oh, did you? Oh, I apologize.
Well, I did a review on a different channel.
Yeah.
And I think I just did like, this is what I think of the game 10 hours in kind of thing. Like, I'm not averse to doing that with any game. Like, I know when to bail on games and not like force myself to keep playing them, and I know when it's time for me to talk about them. The reason I didn't do that with Elden Ring is because I wanted to finish it. Like, I wanted to get all the way through it and then talk about it. So like, there is that. But yeah, you're right. Like, there was also a period of my life, a significantly long period of my life, and this was even before we were working together, where it was like I just would get everything like I could get my hands on, because I thought like, I want to be like the content creator and make all the reviews, and I was getting like way too many games all at once. I think there was one point in 2017, I had like 10 games. I had like 10 review codes, like 10 different games that all came out in a week, and I was like, this is fine. I can do this. This is fine.
Well,
what do you mean I'm going to EGX next week? It's fine.
Oh. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Thank God I slapped you and you went, fine, I'll do it your way, matey.
Yeah.
And you saw sense. I didn't actually slap her.
I mean, you might as well.
Want to state that for the audio listeners.
Yeah, it's cool. Like, I've always said it, like, all the way through 2021 and then in 2022, I was like, since I did that Wasteland 3 review, and Moody came out to my house and beat the shit out of me because I was working on it till 4 a.m. Metaphorically,
Thank you.
I totally like have just like, and I've enjoyed games more. Like 2019 and 2018 were good years for games, obviously. Like God of War and Spider-Man, Celeste. There's like, I can list a whole bunch of games that came out in those 2 years, but I like did not enjoy games as much as I do now. Because I was just like blitzing as many games as possible, as fast as possible, and not really enjoying them. Like, even if something like Elden Ring had come out in like 2018 or 2019, like, I wouldn't have finished it. I would have probably put the time in that I streamed it, and then be like, cool, and then banged out a video, and then be like, right, what's the next game? Like, whereas now it's like I can just sit back and take my time and really like get into Elden Ring and dive into it and do as much as I want in it. It's like I'm playing Triangle Strategy at the moment, and it's like I'm doing all the stuff in it. Like, I'm doing like this, I'm watching the side quest scenes, and I'm doing the mock battles, and I'm doing like, because I'm just enjoying it. Like, so I never really let myself enjoy games, which is fucking ridiculous to say out when you hear it said out loud, but like, I guarantee it's not. I'm not like 2018 Amy is not even a unique situation. Like, as far as like people making content for YouTube and Twitch, like, there'll be plenty of people out there who are grinding or playing games, like, and just not enjoying it at all, like the process or the games at all, or just like playing games they don't enjoy just because they need to make the content. And like, if it means I never like rise above where I am right now in my life, I don't care, because I would rather enjoy the games that I'm playing and enjoy the conversations that I have about the games that I'm playing.
Yeah, definitely. Just chill. It gives you just more chances to enjoy it, and that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
You don't feel like you've enjoyed a game then when you do that type of thing.
Yeah, and like my ADHD will sometimes mean that I hyperfixate, and I will just mow down like 4 or 5 games in like the space of a week or two because I'm just that's what I want to do. Like, and then sometimes I'll just take a step back and I won't play anything for like an entire week, and that's fine too. Like I don't have to play a game. I've played maybe 2 hours of games in the past like 3 or 4 days because I've just done other things, and that is very healthy.
It is very healthy indeed.
But I think I am going to take I might take a backlog break from my day job and just spend a week just playing video games.
Well, theoretically, we are. Theoretically, because I believe you're going to say no, we're not in a minute. We're going to start getting into a lull period of a little bit of gaming.
Well, yeah, it looks like it, right?
It
looks like summer's going to be summer again, because I feel like it wasn't the last couple of years, because I think the pandemic just turned everything upside down. Where I feel like we didn't get such a lull period in the summer, whereas like even I was looking at the calendar going, yeah, it feels like it's slowing down now, which is nice.
Building up for E3.
Yeah, building up for E3, building up for fall, for like August, October, September, etc. Because I used to do like I used to pick up on games that I'd missed in like June, July, like every year, like without fail, because you'd have like a couple of games come out that you really wanted to play, but the last couple of years has just been non-stop. Like there's been games like everywhere, all the time. And there was no lull period for the last couple of years. But I feel like, I think games are still coming out. But like I think May especially, it's starting to ease off a bit where you have space to maybe go back and check out Horizon or check out Ollie Ollie World or whatever you fancy.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Well, that wasn't how I expected to start this podcast. But it was a fun conversation, and I'm glad I had it. I'm taking my slippers off. I think one of the reasons I'm too warm, Mooney, is I'm wearing fucking massive slippers. I think that might have something to do with it.
That's maybe why I'm cold then.
Yeah, get some slippers. Get some slipper socks on.
I'm good.
Your feet need to be warm, or you're not going to be warm.
I like being cold though. That's the thing about
I like being cold because it's easier to warm up. Like if you're hot or if you're too hot, like you can't wrap yourself in a cold blanket. Like, and even if you do, the blanket's gonna warm up too fast. Whereas if it's cold, you just wrap yourself in a blanket and you warm up. It's great.
Yeah.
I don't understand why everybody loves summer so much.
I'm just more worried. Am I coming down with something at the same time?
I mean, there is that worry. There were a million new COVID cases last week, and all of the other viruses that still exist. I'm manifesting good vibes for you. I hope you're all right, especially with Sophia coming back soon. Should we actually
she can take care of me, so I'm all right.
Oh, that's better. Yeah, fair enough. Then get sick. Yeah. As long as you're healthy. As long as you're healthy by next Saturday.
Why next Saturday? Don't worry about next Saturday. You don't need me to be thirsty on Faz. That's all you.
I need you to egg me on. Like you're my enabler.
Enable me.
Enable me.
With the ghosts. Moody.
Enable me to be highly sexually inappropriate while playing Phasmophobia.
Hopefully, Among Us will be fixed by then.
Hopefully, Among Us will be fixed by then.
Screw you, people who've DOS that game.
I know.
Like,
don't
seriously.
DDoS like video
They're working
games.
their asses off to get that game back on, and you've
fucking
assholes.
do one. Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100% with that comment. Shall we
try and get on?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a podcast to do. Like, things to say. Like. Stuff to talk about.
Into it.
I mean, we only spent. I mean, technically, we did banter for 35 minutes, which is a new record. But I did do the entire intro, and we did decide. I did make the executive decision to make a timestamp, make it a story.
So you're like, first banter, explanation of what the podcast is. Second banter.
It's just second banter. It's like, what the fuck were these guys on? Yeah, let's move on. We've got stuff to talk about.
Let's crack on, yeah.
Where are we? On to the news. This fucking headline pisses me off. Right, we're going to talk about that after I've read the story. Sony reportedly plans to announce its Game Pass competitor next week. This is from Mitchell Clark over at The Verge, who writes, Sony will reportedly announce its answer to Xbox Game Pass, a service that's currently known as Spartacus, quote, as early as next week, end quote, according to Bloomberg. Previous reports say that Spartacus could be a combination of Sony's two current subscription services, PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now. Bloomberg says that the service will launch featuring popular recent games, but that it may not include the upcoming tentpole game God of War Ragnarok. The service is expected to have 3 tiers which will offer different games at different price points. One tier is expected to be very similar to the current PlayStation Plus subscription, while subsequent tiers would add PS4 and PS5 games, though the latter are expected to come, quote, in the future, end quote, as well as, quote, access to extended demos and the ability to stream games over the internet, end quote. Previous reports have also said that the highest tier could include a library of classic games from systems like the PS2 and PSP. Sony currently has 2 subscription services, PlayStation Plus, which grants access to multiplayer gaming, some discounts, and a few free games a month, and PlayStation Now, which lets you play a back catalogue of select PS4, PS3, and PS2 games, either via cloud gaming or a download. Which options are available depends on the specific title. We're not going to do that because that is the writers of the article's opinion. With Spartacus, Sony seems to be looking to give PlayStation users a service they can really be excited about. The reports do make it seem like it'll lean more on the massive PlayStation back catalogue rather than today's new hits. It's also not clear how much it'll cost. Currently, PlayStation Now and PlayStation Plus are $60 a year each when you buy an annual subscription, or $120 combined. That's about the same price as a standard Game Pass subscription and a bit less than Game Pass Ultimate, so Sony does have some wiggle room when it comes to pricing. There's also the issue of migration. You can buy multiple months or even years of a PlayStation Plus subscription. If the service is being replaced, how will Sony deal with switching over users who aren't doing a month-to-month subscription? It does sound like Spartacus will have a reasonably equivalent tier, but there could always be changes in price that have to be factored in. Spartacus.
Well, we knew it was coming.
Yeah, we knew it was coming.
We talked about this last year.
Yeah,
and I don't know, and it was reported that they were going to go for a tier system, which
makes sense.
Not surprised. Yeah,
I mean, Game Pass has the tier system, 2-tier.
Does it?
Well, it's got Game Pass and then Game Pass Ultimate.
Fair. It's going to be interesting to see if it does get shown next week. It's going to be very interesting to see what the pricing's going to be and everything. And how's it going to be laid out and everything. So I am fascinated to see what's this like. I know, like it says like in the article, like right now it just looks like it's going to be just the PlayStation's back catalog, but people have been screaming to have that.
Have you seen PlayStation's back catalog?
But that's the thing about it. People have been screaming to have that accessibility to be able to that access to be able to go back and play these old games. So they're giving what the people want, basically.
I want this.
So why? The article just made it sound like it was.
It's just old games. Like the article sounds like Jim Ryan. Who wants to play old games? Ooh, old games.
Yeah, but you had a problem with this title.
I did, where it says Sony's announced its Game Pass competitor. It's not a fucking Game Pass competitor, and like. I feel like people need to stop. All right, the comparisons to Game Pass are going to be inevitable because they're both subscription services and they both do offer video games as part of that subscription service. But like we talked about last time, we talked about this. Like Sony can't go head to head with Game Pass because Game Pass's thing. Like Game Pass has a back catalog of awesome games, like that have come out in the past like few years, and backwards compatibility and all that. But like Game Pass's thing is. New games come out in it. I downloaded 3 games, Tunic counts, off of Game Pass in the past week and they're brand new games that launched day and date in Game Pass. Sony can't do that because Sony can't afford to do that because Sony doesn't own the operating system that runs every computer in the world. Like Microsoft can lose money on Game Pass. Sony can't lose money on Spartacus. So and like it just pisses me off that and I mean, like I get why they frame it because they get clicks for for the way that they frame it, but it's framed like as if it's already inferior, like it's already set up to fail, because as soon as you compare a service that offers Fable when it comes out and a service that doesn't offer God of War Ragnarok when it comes out, like, well, one of those things has got new games and the other one doesn't. But like, they're just doing something, they're doing what they can, and they're doing it in the way that they can do it. And it's a good offer. Like, until we know the price, I can't say like it's great value for money, but it's like, it's cool. Like,
it sounds like it's going to be cool. There's no doubt about it. But I think you kind of argued against your take there at the same time, because you know why the
I know why the article's been written, but that doesn't necessarily mean I don't like. I'm still not going to point out that it's stupid.
Definitely, yeah, no doubt about it. But sadly,
bullshit.
when every other podcaster and articles out there will literally say this type of thing.
I knew there was
PlayStation's placed the battle against Game Pass, the battle of the subscription services has begun, type of thing. And yeah, it's just what it is. And
sidebar, I've been looking across at this monitor. I don't know if you've noticed, but like, I've been like, something's not right over there, and it's because the overlay wasn't on. So I'll have to add that when we edit the podcast. I've just turned it on now. Sorry.
Sweet. That's fine.
I was just like, something's not right.
Something's not right.
I can't figure out what it is. Oh, it's not red. Right. It's not red.
It's not red. Damn it! Don't worry, my red panda did all. I mean, and so do you as well. You're pretty red as well.
Red.
So,
this new light is making my orange hair look red. So yes, thanks for that.
Yes, it does. But yeah, it's just one of those things. Sadly, it still has. Even though you get all of these sites will say the console wars and all that, and the arguments and everything like that is stupid. They constantly participate in it with these type of headlines and everything, so they don't help the situation when it comes to it.
It's just console war nonsense that I thought we were over, but apparently we're not over. But like, yeah, as far as like what Spartacus is, like we've talked about it before, so I don't want to labor at length about the actual proposition, because again, like, we need to know the price before I think we can say whether it's good value for money or not. But like the concept of the different tiers and what each tier offers, I think is really good. Like I'm interested in a back catalogue of PlayStation games, like play PS1, PS2, etc., etc. Like I never had a PS3. Like,
yeah, you did.
So I can I've experienced the only PS3 games I've experienced have been through like re-releases, like the Uncharted trilogy or like The Last of Us remastered, stuff like that. But like stuff that was released on PS3 and never released on PS4, might not have a chance to play that. Stuff that I really like to replay, like I'd really love to not have to emulate old Resident Evil games. Like I'd really love to be able to pay and play those, because I love those games. They're fucking awesome.
I would very much like to replay
Dino Crisis. I'll tell you what,
Dino
like,
Crisis 2.
if I can play Dino Crisis and Dino Crisis 2 via Spartacus, I will stream them, and then I will make a retrospective about them, because I really want to play those games again, because they're so different. Like they're two very different games from each other, and I remember really liking Dino Crisis 2 a lot. But yeah, like it's cool. Like and I don't like the framing. Basically, is what I would say. Like the part I cut out, the part I omitted from the article, which was the opinion of the writer, which is, well, these options don't, in the writer's opinion, don't hold a candle to Xbox Game Pass. I mean, if it's like it depends on the price. Like if you're telling me, like, it depends on the price.
Well, Game Pass was created also on the backlogs of when Microsoft created backwards compatibility.
Yeah, it's one of the value propositions.
So it's literally the PlayStation are just doing literally the same thing that Microsoft did. They just can't do it what you've already stated. They just can't do exactly what Microsoft did, because Microsoft owns all the software of what it's getting played on.
Yeah, they own Windows and Office, like, and Teams, right? Like those are the three things. Like businesses use those things. They can't not use those things. Microsoft makes so much money, they can do whatever they want. PlayStation doesn't own those things. Like, it does own other things that makes movies, TVs, cameras, camera lenses, but it doesn't make nearly as much money as Microsoft as a company as a whole. So, like, PlayStation can't do that. But, like, the value of PlayStation's back catalog is ridiculous. Like the games that came out on PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4, Vita, PSP, like that's like a legacy. Like
Yeah.
I don't mean to knock Xbox. Like there's been some fantastic games on Xbox consoles of the past, but like if you stack up Xbox's entire back catalog versus PlayStation's entire back catalog, there's no contest. And that's someone who I bought in. I got an Xbox on day one, and I've had an Xbox ever since. Like I love Xbox, but like PlayStation just has a better back catalog, and by a considerable margin.
I remember the conversation when the new consoles were coming out, and I think we were even asked many times which one we would
Yes,
if we had to choose which one would we buy.
I was complaining that people were always
Xbox.
asking me. Yeah, people were always asking me like, which console should I get my kid, or which console should I get for myself? And every time I answered Xbox because it's got Game Pass. And you can buy a Series S for 250 quid. And that's exactly what I did.
And it had over hundreds of games on there.
Yeah.
PlayStation now will be able to tout this. Yeah. We have thousands of games of our back catalog ready to go for you to be able to play. That's powerful to be able to come out and say.
But
Microsoft can't do that.
No, and you can even it's play. And I guess we're doing free marketing for PlayStation. You can have this stuff. It's fine. Just cut me a check later.
And give me Dino Crisis.
Yeah. Give us Dino Crisis remake, and you can have this marketing stuff. It's like you can even you can really go deep on like marketing this stuff to gamers, where it's like, oh, like you like JRPGs, like because you've played like Final Fantasy VII Remake and other modern JRPGs. My mind just went completely blank.
I can see that.
Cool, like Persona 5 and stuff. Cool. Well, did you know that like Personas 1 to 4 is available in Spartacus, and also like all the classic Final Fantasies from 7 onwards, because the other ones were Nintendo games, are all available on Spartacus, and like you can get like, do you want to try some of the classics that you've never had the chance to try, like Suikoden 2 and Legend of Dragoon and Enchanted Arms and like all the stuff from like the classic stuff that you might not necessarily have played, like.
Yeah.
And then it's like, are you ever going to get bored ever again?
That's the thing about it. Yeah, you could really get all the games, all the classic games the PlayStation have that are all well received and all loved and everything. You can't able to play right now. They have it on there. Whew,
yeah.
They can tout a lot of things here.
And it's going to be a lot of work in terms of like licenses and stuff, because obviously a lot of the games that I've just mentioned were third party games. Like Square Enix made the Final Fantasy games, etc. But like they could pull it off. Like it's amazing. Like, oh, you like horror games? We've got like the entire Silent Hill and Resident Evil series from PS1 and PS2. Yeah. Like it's right here. Is that going to be what we get? Maybe not. Like maybe we'll only get like PlayStation Studios games. That's still pretty good. Like that is still pretty good. Like it's wild. Like
I agree.
Like, you know what, both services going to be awesome. As is the Nintendo Switch stuff with like they just released Majora's Mask on the Switch Online expansion pack, and I've never paid for Switch Online in my entire life, but I'm gonna.
I'm waiting for it, because I'm not waiting for that one. I'm waiting for them literally to do the one thing I know they're going to do eventually, and that is literally say, "You want all the old generation Pokemon games? Here you are." And I'm like,
Moody
so long
has
life,
gone.
So long life. Ready? I need you on the podcast. Dun, dun. Come on, Bulbasaur, come on!
Like no one ever was. You're just streaming the anime while playing all of the Pokemon games.
Yeah. Brady, I need you.
Just nothing. Ghosted.
Ready?
You come back like 2 months later and just be like, all right, it's time for the podcast. And I'll be like, Moody, I've replaced you. Joe's here now. Sorry.
What?
You didn't respond for 2 years.
And also, you look like Santa Claus. Go and have a shave first.
Also, yeah, you don't look well. I think you need to go for a walk outside. Get some of the sun in you.
Get some sun on you. Yeah, you're looking pretty white right now. Whiter than normal.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. We'll talk more about it next week when we know the full details, if this does indeed happen next week, or if this is another Switch Pro situation.
Yeah, Nintendo, I've just give you a buttload of money with my suggestion.
You did. It's true.
Please. 25-year anniversary.
While we're here and you're taking his suggestions, can you put Wind Waker on there, please? Because I've wanted to replay that game for ages. Let's talk about a showcase that I don't think anyone realized was happening.
I didn't.
No.
I admit that.
The Future Games Spring Showcase happened Wednesday night, I believe it was, at 10 p.m. GMT. I mean, I guess you didn't watch it. I didn't watch it. I found out about it after the fact because I got a PR email about some game. I don't remember which one. And I was like, why am I getting emails at 10 p.m.? This isn't normal. What's going on? Oh, there's a fucking showcase. So I went through and looked at all the games and stuff. There's actually some pretty cool games that got announced there. I just wish they'd got the word out so people actually knew that this was happening. But I watched some trailers, I read some stuff, and I came up with a list of things that looked pretty cool. So I thought we could talk about those for a little bit before we go into halftime. Thanks to Games Radar for the wrap up. They make the Future Games Showcase, so it's a good job. It's good that they wrap it up as well. What do we got? Again, this isn't going to be all the games. This is just what stood out to me. The first one is called Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn, which is an action RPG. The thing that stood out to me is it's by the developers of Ashen, which is a game I played a few years ago on Game Pass, and I loved it quite a lot. I think it was one of my top 10 games of 2018. It was fucking great. And this is it's the age of gunpowder. So everyone's just starting to make guns and explosives and stuff. And then the humans open a doorway and the gods come pouring through and try to take over the world. And you've got to take your new guns, which are been proved you've got magic, well I've got a gun, and then you've got to kill the gods and be fuck you gods. It's coming to PlayStation, Xbox, and PC this year. And I caught this in the the screen where it puts all the credits and stuff up, and it has all the platform things at the bottom, and it said Game Pass. They didn't say Game Pass, but it said Game Pass next to all the things.
I have noticed Microsoft are doing that a lot lately, where they're not saying Game Pass straight away. They're just putting it in a little icon at the bottom.
Yeah.
So that's why I think a lot of people got going off a little different thing here.
Tuning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I assumed that was definitely hearing a Game Pass.
Yeah.
And then, was it the day before? And I saw all these people tweeting and stuff saying, oh, it's surprise launching in Game Pass. And I was like, I thought it was already going to be coming in game. I thought we knew that. But did we know that?
I was pretty sure that their last trailer showed that. I'm pretty sure when they announced it or revealed it at the E3 years ago, they'd said it will be coming to Game Pass when it comes out.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure of that.
I feel like that was already a known quantity. Or maybe we're just prophets. Maybe we could see the future.
Well, my thing is I think they're getting into the territory of Netflix territory here. And when I mean by that, I mean of how they're marketing the shit. Netflix don't market their stuff at all, really. If it gets hyped, they just let the hype train carry itself over, and they don't really put any money behind it or anything. And obviously it's worked because obviously Netflix is the biggest entertainment subscription out there. But to think that they don't market, that Microsoft seem like they're going that way, unless it's really one of their big AAA games that they've obviously created.
Yeah.
They're not really pushing it very well. We're pushing it when it comes to it. They'd obviously just thrown these games in and just say, new games. Well, and obviously it's good that they obviously share each week when on Twitter, this is the new games that are going in. It's
twice a month, isn't it? It's this is the first half and this is the second half.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just holding it for E3, whatever, whatever their next showcase is. Maybe then they're just going to be check out these games. Because they did the showcase last year. And they literally opened it. It was last year, wasn't it? Where they opened it with all of the games you're about to see are all going to be launching in Game Pass, and then it was So and maybe they're just going to do a similar thing like this year,
which is obviously a good thing because at the end of the day, that means the indie developers are getting paid.
Yeah,
they're going to get some sort of. Money
we'll actually
instantly.
be talking about Game Pass later as well. We have a story. Ooh. The next game that I saw, so I've had this one on my radar for a while, but Like, and I wasn't even going to put this in the list until I saw who was developing it and what they'd made previously. So like I've been, because I'm a big Vampire the Masquerade fan, so like obviously like I've known that this game exists, and is coming in May. And this Vampire the Masquerade Swan Song, and I thought, oh, I'll check it out. It was like the world debut gameplay trailer, and they showed the gameplay, and I was like, yeah, it looks pretty cool. Like maybe I'll check it out in May. Of course, I'm going to check it out in May. It's a vampire game. And then I was like, Big Bad. And then it's like, it's being developed by Big Bad Wolf Studio. I know that name. Where do I know that name from? So I did a Google search and I was like, they made this episodic adventure game series years ago called The Council. And that game is fucking fantastic. Like, it was like right at the tail end of when like episodic games were still kind of the thing. It was like just at like the tail end of it. And it was like, It was an okay adventure game. You went around, you solved puzzles. The puzzles were kind of hard. Like, I remember I streamed this game, and I had chat helping me out with like a couple of the puzzles. But like, there was one thing it did that I fucking loved, and I haven't really seen any games do it since. Where it's like they had like it like the big climactic moments of like different points of the episodes. They had what I could only describe as boss fights, but the boss fights were like high stakes conversations that dramatically like affected where the story went, like which direction the story went, and they were fucking awesome. And like I'd seen that in this trailer where it was like, oh, conversations, you have like these high stakes conversations. And I was like, that sounds like the council. Oh, cool. It's about time somebody else is doing like what the council did. And then I found out it is actually that developer. So like, Vampire the Masquerade Swan Song just went from like here on my high place to like here. Where it's like, okay, okay, now I'm really interested.
Very good, very good.
Yeah, it looked fucking cool. So it's coming out on May 19th to all the consoles plus PC. I can't wait.
Awesome.
Would it surprise you to learn, Moody, that I'm actually quite excited for a game being published by Konami? So there was a game shown at the Future Game Showcase called Crime Site. And I pulled a description of the game from PC Gamer because I didn't think I could do the description of this game justice. So I'm going to read this. Thanks, PC Gamer. An isometric murder mystery that pits up to 4 players against one another. Crime Site is all about either saving the murder target or teaming up to make sure the dirty deed is done. The game's conceit is there's a Sherlock AI, a Moriarty AI, and an Irene AI. The Sherlock side is out to save the victim, while Moriarty and Irene have slightly different abilities, but both aim to get them killed. Each match populates the mansion setting with a bunch of characters, among which are 2 assigned the roles of villain and target. And then, as things play out, the different sides have different objectives in order to try and predict who they are and how the murder is going to happen, then either stop it or execute it. This is done by manipulating both the environment and the characters. Each player's turn gives them a certain number of actions, which can change depending on circumstances. For example, characters can get tired and be less responsive, and depending on who's where with whom you will start unfurling what's going on. The murder itself also has conditions that have to be met, not the least of which is that when the bad AIs have worked out who needs killing and who needs to do it, they need to engineer a situation that leaves the 2 alone. It's very intriguing. I'm very intrigued by this game. And then I was like, it's being published by Konami. My whole world just got turned upside down. Maybe Silent Hill might actually be good. It's gone too far. This game does look cool. I'm interested to see more of it, though. Like, I love a good, quirky, unique kind of game.
You are a quirky type girl.
Yes, I am quirky and unique myself. I'm something of a no, that meme doesn't work, does it?
Nope.
I'm something of a quirk myself. Lastly, I'm just going to rattle through these really quickly. We got another trailer for Sam Barlow's Immortality, which looks fucking wild. This is by the guy who made Telling Lies and Her Story. So I'm in. Like, I'm already in. I'm just waiting for the game to come out. There was a cool trailer for The Time I Have Left, which is a mysterious time-driven escape adventure caked in neon and bustling with spooky monsters, coming in 2023. There was a world premiere for a game called The Outbound Ghost, which is a cute RPG with emotional undertones inspired by Paper Mario and Undertale. It looked cute as fuck. I'm definitely in on that one. And then, like, this one was cool. There was we got a look at a game called Lego Brick Tales, which is a diorama-based brick building adventure game, where you like you solve puzzles in like small like Lego dioramas. There's one part where it's like you get the parts of like a crashed plane, and then you build a helicopter, and then you use that solves the thing. It looked kind of cool. It looked interesting. And then lastly, Dwarf Romantic, which you might remember I did an early access impressions of last year, is coming out on April 28th. That game is very cool. If you like really chilled, really cozy, really like stress-free building games, like it's very cool for that. And Moody, you already have it on Steam.
Do I?
Yes, because I own it. I already own it, so you already own it.
Fascinating.
But Moody, it's enough talk about games. It's time for halftime.
It's that time, ladies and gentlemen, where we talk about the halftime indie game of the week picked by Amy herself. This week is Fobia, Saint Define Hotel.
Dinfna?
Saint Dinfna Hotel. Can you say those two?
Do you want me to read it? Because there's a lot of names.
That's a lot of words.
There's a lot of names in this one.
Yeah, you go for it.
And even I don't know how to pronounce them. Trees Trillhass is home to the St. Dinfna Hotel, a decadent site that is the subject of numerous rumors, including mysterious disappearances and paranormal activity. Hoping to break the story, amateur journalist Roberto Lita Lopez travels to Santa Catarina following a tip from his friend Stephanie. This is basically Outlast again. Sorry. There's nothing wrong with that, by the way. I just realized I was like thinking of Outlast. His investigative skills will be needed not only to uncover the truth, but to survive when reality is turned upside down with his discovery of a camera that reveals different timelines. Okay, it's not like Outlast anymore. A fanatical cult, human experiments, and apparitions roaming the halls. Solve puzzles and scavenge for anything to stop their hunt as the past, present, and future collide. This isn't being. Nope, I didn't change any of that information. I don't like. This is not being developed by those people. That was last week's game.
This game sounds more like Outlast too.
It does sound a bit like Outlast.
Because Outlast 2, I'm pretty sure I had a cult.
Yeah, there was a cult. I remember. This sounds really cool. Like, I'm really digging the... Like, I like horror games. This is being developed by Pulsatrix Studios and published by Maximum Games. And the release date just says demo available. So soon, I guess. But there is a demo available on Steam. There's a link in the description for the Steam store page. Like, I like a good horror game. I really like the sound of like the camera that can see multiple timelines, like from a premise standpoint, but also from a potential like what they could do in the gameplay with that.
Yeah,
like
it could be interesting, no doubt.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on it. I might try the demo. I might do a demo stream sometime soon because I got a lot of demos piled up, and the last one I did was fun, so I might chuck this on the list. Everyone in Twitch chat loves it when I play a horror game. Because I have great reactions to jump scares.
Hell yeah. Just go for it. Just don't.
Unless Phasmophobia has broken me and I'm just inappropriate with all horror games from now on. Just like playing Resident Evil.
I don't know, like for Resident Evil Village, you were pretty broken on that one as well, so...
I mean, yeah, but like the part I streamed was the castle. Hello. I only died on purpose once, and that was because I got stuck in a corner. So I just embraced it.
Oh no! I can't get away.
I couldn't. I was stuck.
Don't.
And I did laugh probably more than was appropriate at the point where Ethan got his hand chopped off, because I thought that was really funny.
Oh yeah, Ethan, you big gullible dumb idiot.
But yeah, like, I don't know, maybe I'll be playing Resident Evil 2 remake and I'll just be like Mr. X. I'll just be like, "Ooh, hello, daddy," like, "Oh, hello, daddy," and it's just done. I'm done. Like, that's it.
It's my daddy.
Daddy,
Hello, daddy.
step on me, daddy. Ooh, that didn't feel good. Oof, damn. I am gay. Should we move on to the next part of the news stories?
Why not?
Why not, indeed. Here we go. New Activision Blizzard lawsuit details further allegations of harassment and discrimination. This is from Danielle Parters over at Games Industry. .biz. He writes, Activision Blizzard is facing another lawsuit filed by a former employee that alleges further instances of discrimination and harassment faced at the publisher, as well as examples of how the firm has retaliated to individuals sharing their experiences. The suit, reported by Bloomberg Law, details allegations from a staff member referred to as Jane Doe, who worked as a senior admin assistant to the company's IT department in 2017. Similar to previous reports, the document claims that Doe experienced inappropriate comments on what touching and was subject to what the suit calls, quote, cube crawls, end quote. I fucking hate that I actually, like, I don't need the explainer for what a cube crawl is because of Activision Blizzard. I know what it is. I fucking hate that. Fuck you, Activision Blizzard. Excuse me. Where she and multiple women experienced frequent sexual harassment as part of Activision Blizzard's, quote, frat boy, end quote, environment. Doe claims that she was also pressured to drink alcohol in the office and encouraged to stay late after work to play party games with staff, where she also experienced degrees of sexual comments. The suit claims that Doe began to dress, quote, more conservatively, end quote, to avoid sexual harassment at work, and complained about instances of said behaviour. In response, her supervisor told her that, quote, it was just her leadership being nice and trying to be friends with her, end quote. It was also claimed that Doe applied to an executive assistant position at the firm in November last year, but says the application was unsuccessful due to her highlighting her experiences of discrimination and retaliation at a press conference in December 2021. As a result, the suit asks for Activision Blizzard to implement a rotating HR department to avoid, quote, conflicts of interest, end quote, with management, a neutral investigation, and the firing of CEO Bobby Kotick. Next week, Activision Blizzard is preparing to settle its case with the EEOC, which has been ongoing since September last year. A final hearing is scheduled for March 29th, where an $18 million fund to, quote, compensate and make amends to eligible claimants, end quote, is expected to be approved. The firm is also facing a separate lawsuit filed earlier this month by the family of an employee that committed suicide during a company retreat. The suit claims that the harassment she faced from her boss was a significant factor leading to her death. Do you want to know what's really depressing about this story? I read the whole thing, and I'd read it earlier this week. I just read it all out loud, and I was like, none of this sounds new.
No, it doesn't. It isn't at all. Like, and it's
I hate that.
Deplorable and disgusting, and like, it's not going to change. It's like, we know it. Nothing's going to change until Microsoft are fully taken over, and that's not until
at least next summer.
Year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we hope. I mean, like, you know, we hope that things change that quickly as well. Like, I feel like my personal opinion is Microsoft will want to change, like, what's happening in Activision Blizzard. Things take time. It sucks.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I hate it.
Yeah, they're not going to. Phil Spencer's not going to get the keys to the keys to the kingdom and just walk in and say, "Off." I rephrase that, out of the door with all of them.
Like the popular Buffy the Vampire spin-off Angel in the very first episode, where he walks into that guy's office and he's like, "Can you fly, Russell?" And then he just kicks him out the window. It's like, I don't know why that thought suddenly cropped into my head.
Good thought. It's things are going to take time. Sadly, at the end of the day, these are important stories that need to be talked about and need to be brought up and need to constantly be reminded.
Yeah, definitely.
All the time. Unlike other places that don't just ignore this shit, and other podcasts ignore this shit. That's the one thing I'll always harp on about. That at least we continue. We don't want to hear. Just think about it. We don't want to be talking about this stuff. But we know we need to talk about it stuff. That's how it is. And I hope something can come about this, and she can get this person can get something from this.
Can get everything that they want, that
yeah.
they're asking for in their lawsuit, which is scroll. A rotating HR department to avoid conflicts of interest with management, a neutral investigation, and the firing of CEO Bobby Kotick. I hope they get everything.
Seriously, HR, you guys in all companies, going off what I'm hearing basically is this: you all need to get your ass kicked. You need to get kicked up. You need to get your asses kicked basically to show, because HR. Yes, I can appreciate, like, for most of the big companies these days, they are there to look after the company, and that's it. You really need to you really need to get your head out your asses, and literally to help the company will be keeping your employees happy and listening to them, and you'll have a better workplace, and the company will thrive because of it. Doing all this shit is just I'm sick of hearing the amount of stories we've heard and spoken about and read about of HR basically doing absolutely nothing to help the employee is disgusting. I'm getting
the issue is
fed up.
The issue is that I think a lot of people don't really realize is that HR in companies, like in all companies, like, exists to protect the company from stuff like this by keeping it quiet, not by doing something about it, because you do something about it, then it's a story and it's a thing, and the company can be liable, can be sued, etc., etc., etc. There was a response someone put up on Twitter to the People Make Games video that we talked about last week that I saw, which summed it up quite well. And I can't remember who tweeted it out now. I probably retweeted it at some point, which pointed out that, like, a lot of people are saying that, oh, well, maybe if these indie developers had HR departments, that would solve the problem. No, it wouldn't. I mean, look at Ubisoft and Activision and Rockstar and so on and so forth. They all have massive HR departments. HR is actually a part of the problem. Like,
HR needs to be completely rebanded. It shouldn't be called HR. It should be called CR company resources, or something like that, because HR is human resources. It's the thing. It's there to help. The title basically says you're there to help the human, not to help the fucking company.
Like,
that's the thing that annoys me. I'm sorry if I'm
no, it's fine. Like, I think you're absolutely correct. You're partway towards the point that I was just thinking of making there when you were talking about it, which is, like, I think you're right, but I don't think you're going far enough, where it's like, I think, like, HR, like, as a concept in corporations in general, I think HR as a concept needs to be rethought, like, in how HR functions. Like, if we're really serious about tackling this problem, which is prevalent in the games industry, absolutely, but also prevalent throughout all industries and all companies all over the world, then HR as a concept needs to change, because you're right, it needs to be for the people, not the executives or the company, the wider company. But unfortunately, we live in a system where the people with power have power. Like, they're the ones that have the power. So it's a huge issue.
Yeah, it really is. It's just, again, I'm sick of hearing it, man.
Yeah, you're always guaranteed to hear it. It's like, like, this type of, like, these allegations hit X company, and the second sentence is going to be HR did nothing. Like, somewhere in that news story is going to be HR made it worse or did nothing. Like, usually both simultaneously. And yeah, like my comment before about, like, all of this doesn't sound new, was just to point out that, like, this fucking ridiculous. This is starting to get, like, we're at a point where more people are coming forward saying the same things are happening, either at the same companies or different companies, and people need to get it through their heads that this is systemic, and what that means is it is happening at all the companies, whether they, and I'm talking to you, PlayStation, whether they deny it or not. It's happening there too. And once we like accept that, then we can start doing something about it as a whole community, society, world.
Hopefully.
Out of that, we just get the guillotines out. It worked for France. Should we move on?
Why not?
Microsoft says it won't object if Activision recognizes Call of Duty Studios' potential union. This is from Jordan Midler over at VGC, who writes, Microsoft has been asked by a group of Activision Blizzard employees whether or not it will object to internal unionization efforts, specifically at Call of Duty developer Raven Software. According to Axios, in response to an open letter, the company has said it will not object to the union efforts, which have largely gained momentum in the wake of Activision Blizzard's ongoing scandals. In the letter, which has been shared with Axios, workers asked CEO Satya Nadella whether Microsoft has authorized Activision to rule on the recognition of the union. The Raven workers also accuse Activision of using, quote, union busting, end quote, tactics to prevent their action and call on Microsoft to stop, quote, the campaign that is being waged against us, end quote. Responding to the letter, a Microsoft spokesperson told Axios, quote, Microsoft will not stand in the way if Activision Blizzard recognizes a union. It then goes on to say, Microsoft respects Activision Blizzard's employees' rights to choose whether to be represented by a labor organization, and we will honor these decisions, end quote. Axios noted that the statement did not clarify what stage the discussions are currently at.
Well, if they came out, I'm not going to lie, hyperbole, but if they came out and says we are on Activision's side, Microsoft will have everyone turning against them right off the bat.
The thing is, right, and I mean, this might just be another, Amy's so cynical about the games industry. Like, I don't think Microsoft want a unionized workforce any more than Activision Blizzard do, but like in turn, they can turn around and just say what they've said, which is, well, if Activision Blizzard recognizes it, we won't stand in the way. But we know that Activision Blizzard is doing everything in their power
to stop
this.
Yeah.
So like they're kicking the can down the road, and maybe this is just my reading of it, thinking, well, this isn't going to be our problem because it's going to get busted up, baby. They've already like done so much we've talked about that Activision Blizzard has done to try and stop this from happening.
Yeah, I just want to direct everyone though for to go check out this Twitter thread at More Perfect US. They released a video of the games industry exploitation exposed video. It's all about Activision, Call of Duty from Raven Software and Activision for unionization and all the crap about it. You've got amazing people who work in QA.
Yeah, I think I've seen this video.
It's in the Discord.
Was Jessica Gonzalez in it?
Yes.
Yes, and she got a lot of she got loads of comments. I saw her talk about it. That's how I saw the video.
Yeah, it's an amazing little video, and it just shows just on the QA part itself, just how much QA is just completely looked down upon.
I think that was part of our original reporting of the strike, the QA strike at Raven. QA is an incredibly important part of game development that is constantly looked down upon. And they're underpaid and they're overworked and they're treated like shit. And it's like your games wouldn't function without them. So
yeah.
Maybe don't do that.
Yeah. And a lot of them were women. In this.
Yeah.
So maybe even more empowering.
Yeah, shout out to everybody in that video. Absolutely.
Yeah, they were all amazing. And I hope they do unionize as soon as possible and get this thing sorted. Because at the end of the day, I've just gone off on a bat about freaking HR. You need someone to protect you.
Yeah, you need a union.
The company ain't going to help you. HR ain't going to fucking help you. So you need somebody to be able to protect you against the companies because they ain't going to help you.
It's like that. They don't care. They don't care about you. They're not your friend. It was the line in the article from one of the articles from the Harry Potter game last week. We talked about it where it's the developers need unions. They don't need people buying their games. They need unions. They do. They need unions. A lot of the things that we talk about on this podcast would not happen or would not happen with as nearly as much frequency if the games industry was unionized. So unionize.
Unionize. The thing is that I think what we don't want. Not it's not. I think we all know what Activision they're trying to do. They're trying to stop this because they know if one starts, they all start, and then that's the thing. Everyone from the distant, like Ubisoft and everything like that, they're just like, fucking stop this, Activision Blizzard, stamp this into the ground. They want them to do that, and they've always even spoken to the rat bastards over in Ubisoft and all the other rat places, saying how can we help to stop this from happening, type of thing.
Yeah,
because they know if one starts, they're all going to start, and
I hope so. It's like the fires of Gondor in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
One after the other. You love to see it.
I think it's going to happen.
I hope so. I really do.
I just it's going to be difficult. We already know it's been difficult.
Yeah.
I do hope it's going to happen.
Solidarity though with like everybody at Raven Software, QA. We're rooting for you. And if there's anything ever like we could do, we do it. Like the strike fund, we shared the strike fund around a lot when they were on strike. Like this is just what we need to do. Like stand up for like the people who make the games. Like it can sometimes feel like a really impersonal hobby medium. Industry, like you sit down and you play a game and the credits roll on the game and there's like hundreds upon hundreds of names flashing by every time you finish a game, and it's like, well, every single one of those names is a person who put their soul into this video game that you've enjoyed, and like that times that by however many video games that you play, like, and those are just the people who were credited who worked on the game. That's a whole other kettle of fish. Maybe for all of those times you've enjoyed video games that people have made, maybe just try to give back, try to pay, like I was going to say pay it forward, but that's not right. Try to give it back and just be like, support them when they need your support. Not by buying games, but by actually supporting them, get better working conditions.
Because they already get paid.
You don't. I almost went off on a Hogwarts rant again. Someone, I really want to quickly. Someone said something on Twitter last week that I'd never considered. Might have been in one of the articles, a part that I didn't read. But I hadn't considered it, looked at it this way, where it's like the argument of I want to support the developers, and it came up a lot because I watched a lot of podcasts and video reactions and stuff, and every single one of them was like, well, we want to support the developers because they've clearly worked hard and put their passion into it. And it's just like, someone pointed out, you can't use that to justify buying Hogwarts Legacy unless you buy literally every video game that's ever been made. Because the only way you could say, oh, well, I'm supporting the developers is if you support all the developers of all the games. Right? And I was like, oh, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. Like, like I'm supporting the developers of Hogwarts Legacy because they worked hard on the game. Well, what about this game and this game and this game? All these developers worked hard and put their passions into all of these games. And anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. Stop me.
No, well, I'm going to add into it a little bit. I think what this whole Harry Potter thing, J.K. Rowling Hall thing, whole shindig Bing thing that's going on right now is that it's just proven it. It's just like what I've said on multiple occasions on many times that the society and gamers in general just all incredibly hypocritical.
Yeah, everyone in the world is.
Yeah.
We talked about it a bit, but go on. Sorry.
And I see where people come from when they say it's a pick and choose thing of what you want to support and what you don't want to support and anything like that. Because, I think if this was a different situation on a different minority, I think people would be saying more different things.
I saw someone say that exactly what you've just said in relation to this game in a reaction to the controversy around J.K. Rowling. Someone literally said that. I had to go back and rewatch that part of their content. I'm trying not to signify like who it might be. Like 3 times. I think I said to you, I messaged you, I said I watched it 3 times to make sure I was grasping the thing that they were saying. And I was like, no, that's what they said. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Like, as a trans person, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
But you hit on something that I really do want to just talk about, which is the if this was it's a case by case thing of what you will stand for and what you want, and like you have to understand that like I take it personally as a trans person, as a member of the trans community. It's like if you're going case by case on what you will and want to pause, and the thing that you want to pause is like people trying to take my rights away from me. Yeah, I'm gonna take that a little bit personally, and not in a funny, sarcastic way.
Yeah, and that's the thing I think where people are not realizing when it comes to this type of thing, that they don't realize what she is saying is trying to take your rights away. Yeah. Every trans person's rights away, and I don't think people realize this. They just hear she's saying terrible things and she's basically a transphobe, which we all know she is and everything like that. And no one's realizing what she's actually saying could impact you.
If that was the full stop, like if all it was, and I said this last week, I'll say it again, if all it was J.K. Rowling said things on Twitter that like the things that she's saying, and that was as far as it went, there wouldn't really be a problem, right? Like you take Graham Linehan, who does the same thing as J.K. Rowling, basically, like, but he is a nothing, like he is a non-entity, like as far as like power and influence goes. Like, he's big in TERF circles. He has his podcast, and he's on the BBC every now and again. But, like, he's not moving the needle in terms of, like... It's not even about the conversation. It's about the actual harm that is being done to a community of people. He doesn't move the needle. So, like, I ain't got no problem with that. You know what I mean? Like... I mean, if you say I support Graham Linehan, I have a problem with that, obviously. Like, but like, it's a non-issue, right? Like, you're not. If you went out and watched Father Ted, like, it's not contributing to the power and influence of someone who is trying to destroy my life, which is what's happening. Like, we just fucking saw it, like, in action with Vladimir Putin. Which I messaged you about, Moody, and I said I can't stop laughing because this is just really funny. It's not going to change anything because nobody's going to self-reflect on this, but it's fucking hilarious from my point of view. It's like Putin's come out and just been like, oh, like J.K. Rowling, we're best, like, you know, we and like you could see it, like the hoops that all the TERFs and the columnists in the UK and stuff are jumping through to say, oh, well, you know, Putin doesn't quite grasp what he's saying. No, Putin is saying this because he agrees with you. That's it. You and Putin are on the same side of this thing. If I was on the same side as Vladimir Putin about something, I'd probably want to rethink my entire life. But that's just me.
When you look in the morning, everybody, and you see yourself being when you see Putin in your mirror, you know you need to have your life.
but yeah, like, oh yeah, supporting J.K. Rowling doesn't affect anything. Like, yeah, no, Vladimir Putin's literally name checking. I like while he's murdering people in Ukraine. Like, but okay, yeah, sure. There's a lot. I see a lot of talk. The two, like the supporting developers one is the one thing I saw most on most podcasts and reactions, and the other one was, well, I'm choosing to separate the art from the artist, and it's like, well, I mean, you can do that with, say, H.P. Lovecraft, who was incredibly monumentally racist, because he's dead. So, like, you're not, like, his power and influence ended a long time ago. Like, you know, you can talk about his books and buy his books and support his fiction all you want. It doesn't really matter because you can't do anything with that because, you know, he's no longer with us. J.K. Rowling is alive, and all of that influence and power that she still has because Harry Potter is still popular, she is using as a sledgehammer to beat me in the head, metaphorically. And, like, you can say, well, I'm choosing to support the developers and not have J.K. Rowling, but, like, that's all well and good to say, but then reality sets in. And that's not what you're actually doing.
Yeah. Like, when it comes to... I see the argument from a certain point when people say I can separate the art from the artist. I've done it before on multiple occasions.
I mean, we've all done it. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, yeah. But when it comes to this situation, and I won't lie. Like there's no doubt about it, because I know you. I know the situation and what's happening and everything like that. And more than anyone, I think a lot of people do know when it comes to these podcasters out there and everything. Which is a lazy answer, because it's a lazy thing. Because really, at the end of the day, you need to research this shit. If you know a trans person, speak to that person. Get information or something like that. If you know, but this is the thing about speak to them, talk to them.
Yeah.
Try and educate yourself, become better. Listen.
I forgot I was wearing headphones. I tried to tap my ear and I just. Yeah, no, like it's like, all right, we're doing this. We've created another alternate fucking timestamp because we're going to go down this rabbit hole a little bit now because I want to talk about some stuff. Like. Yeah, I told you, because we messaged after I'd done this, because I was like, was a terrible idea. And, like, of the stuff that I watched, like, and I know for a fact that all of the content that I watched, like, it was possible for those people to at least speak to a trans person before they talked about this stuff, if not had a trans person on to talk to them while they were talking about this stuff. And none of them did that. I can say categorically none of them had trans people on their content because I watched it and I have eyes. I can be reasonably assured that none of them spoke to a trans person before they did their content, because I am a trans person with a brain and ears, and I listened to the things that they were saying, and the hypotheticals that they were throwing out there. And some of them even said afterwards, well, I'll talk to a trans person. And I was like, it's a bit late now. Like, maybe beforehand would have been better. Like, I mean, we didn't get much blowback for what we talked about last week, but that might be because nobody could reply to the tweet. And I turned the comments off on the YouTube video because I was just like, I'm not dealing with it. I did get some stuff IRL. Not bad stuff. I did get some stuff IRL. Someone did actually ask, and I wrote some stuff down. Because I was going to do a bit, and then we decided to talk about a backlog instead, and I just thought, we'll just leave it at that. But we drove here off the back of Activision Blizzard.
Funny how that works, isn't it?
It's funny how that works, isn't it? Like, oh, yeah. Yeah, and because one of the things that that last point as well plays into what I want to talk about a little bit here, which is nobody I watched spoke to a trans person, had a trans person on, and someone had asked me, and I've been asked this intermittently over the past 4 years, which is like how to be a good trans ally, and I've always felt kind of uncomfortable answering that question because like I'm not the gatekeeper of allyship, and I don't hold all the answers, but I hold, you know what, Moody, I hold some of the answers, like, because I know some stuff, and I joked when we talked about this privately that my response would be just ask him because he's been doing it for the last 4 years, but it's not really a joke. Like, Moody's been a really good ally for not just the trans community, but also the trans community, like since I've known him, so. Like, just if you follow his example, you can't go wrong. But I wrote some stuff down because there's some really easy stuff that you can do to be a good trans ally. And number one ties into what we were just talking about, which is don't talk over trans people when it comes to talking about trans issues. Like, speak, sure, because there's not that many of us, and we need our cis allies to speak with us. But don't speak for us or over us, because that's not really cool, right? Like, yeah.
I did not want to speak
I was like, no, Moody, speak. No, like, yeah, you know what I mean? It's just like, it's like I saw so many conversations last week about this thing that greatly affects trans people. And like, okay, you can't get any trans people on your shows. All right, cool. But Moody, there was a huge GameSpot article written by a trans person. And I know this because I read it, and we used it on the podcast last week.
It was amazing.
And I only saw one of these contents that I watched reference that and use that and link it in their description. And it's just like, you could have at least used this. Even if all you did was point to it and say, you should go and read this. Here's a link. Like, that would have been something. Because it was an amazing article that really, like, I think is really eye-opening for a lot of people. But, like, there's some easy stuff you can do to be a good trans ally, and I wrote some of it down. Like, the first one is just put your pronouns in your bio on social media, because, one, it signals that you're a safe person to be around for a trans person. And two, it's a really great way to get bigots to self-identify so you can block them. It's fantastic.
I did not know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah. If you put that in your bio, like, trans people are gonna be like, cool, you're cool. Like, I look for it. Like, when I read someone's retweet, or like someone sends me like stuff, I like click on people's profiles just to see if they've got pronouns in their bio, because that's a cool thing and it's so easy to do. And it normalizes it, so trans people don't stand out for having pronouns in their bio. Because, like, if you didn't see me talk about, I'm gonna a bit of an ego moment. If you didn't see me talking right now on this podcast, you probably wouldn't know I was trans, because one, words don't translate into gender like on Twitter, and also my Instagram pictures are well framed. But I put tags on those. But if I didn't, would anyone know? The transphobes say they can always tell, yet they constantly get it wrong. Anyway, that was a tangent. Another good thing to do, another good and easy thing to do is never assume someone's pronoun. Basically, I'm just saying I'm hot as fuck, and you would never be able to tell if I didn't tell you. Or my voice was, but I'm working on my voice, so watch out, world. Another good and easy thing to do is just don't assume anyone's pronouns, like, because you don't know what someone's pronouns are. You can use gender neutral pronouns until you find out someone's pronouns, like they, them. Or, even better, just ask. Or, and this was something Joe Medforce did, which I really loved. The first time I ever met him was when we were doing that podcast last year. And before we started recording, he just introduced himself, told me his pronouns, and asked for my pronouns. And that is the best thing you can do, because then there's no guesswork. Hello, my name is Amy. My pronouns are she, her. There's no guesswork involved in that. That is another really cool and really easy thing you could do. Another one is never use someone's dead name, even if you know it. Even if you're talking about something, like, even if you were talking about me and something that we did together pre-transition. So, like, when I was, like, just use my current name. Because that is my name. Always respect the terminology of what a trans person wants to use. Like, a good example is guys. Like, if you use guys as a gender neutral thing, that's okay, fine. Like, I personally don't really care, right? But people do. And if someone tells you not to use that, just don't. It's very simple to just not say that. Like, just, yeah, it's a general respect thing. I know Moody's like looking like, well, I don't know what to do. Amy's talking and I don't know what to say.
No.
You may jump in at any point.
Yeah. No, this for me, like, we're obviously going into a completely different thing. Which I think was needed. I think after last week's episode and after the whole thing that's happened with J.K. Rowling and Putin and the Hogwarts whole thing in general, I think needed to have a conversation. And even though we had a private conversation about these things, I was thinking, why is no one like I said? I'll say what I said in the tweet. The message to you is like, representation truly matters, and it doesn't just matter just for one minority. It matters for all minorities. And like, I openly admit I've been called out because I didn't represent properly on my old podcast of the tribute I did to Chadwick Boseman. I got called out for that, and I openly admit I was wrong, and I deserve to get called out for it. And I think anyone else if you need, just find somebody. There's always someone out there they ain't gonna come out and say fuck you. If they say they can't do it, then it's fine or anything like that. But I think when you're going to talk about something that you literally have no idea what this thing is about, you can't be talking about it. You can't be. So when you say things of like, I'm supporting the developers and everything like that. You don't realize how much this is hurting a community.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about
Well,
it.
that's the
So
thing. I can tell. Like, you could tell. I can tell instantly that they don't get it. You know? And I'm not saying, like, your opinion is wrong. I'm saying you don't get what this is doing to a community of people. And I can tell. And you just need to read some stuff. And then maybe you will get it. And then we can have a discussion. Like, one of the contents, I'm just going to call it the contents. One of the contents I watched last week, someone was talking about, you know, like, this is my opinion. And until somebody argues with me differently, then this is my opinion. And I'm just like, dude, no. And no one's going to come and do that. Like, if I went on someone's podcast or someone's whatever to have a discussion with someone, then I'll have a discussion with someone, but I'm not going to argue about whether I should have rights or not. So, like, that is the wrong direction to come at that from. It's not a debate. Imran Khan said that in his amazing article that we also read out last week. Like, there's no debate, like, to be had. And, like, I don't want to have that debate, and I don't know any trans person that does want to have a debate like that, because as far as we're concerned, it's not a debate. It's not open for a debate. So you need to change that energy, like, straight away.
Seriously.
100%. Something I learned to do over the last couple of years, because this is how to be a good trans ally, but this is just how to be a good ally in general, is, like, if you notice a gap in, say you do Twitter. I'm going to use Twitter as an example because my primary social media is Twitter. If you notice a gap in your Twitter timeline, fill it. Like, if you're not following very many trans people, go follow trans people. If you're not following very many black people, go follow a bunch of black people. If you're not, like, if there's some community that you're not following a lot of people on, go find people to follow. Because, one, a diverse timeline is fantastic. I openly now know this. Like, because I realized, like, I came to that realization last year because something kicked off in the black Twitter community. And I found out about it by two white people who I followed who was tangentially in the orbit of the thing that happened. And that's how I found out about it. And I saw a tweet, I think from I Am Brandon, who is a Twitch streamer. He said, if you don't know what's going on in the black Twitch community right now, you need to follow more black people. And, like, it really hit home with me, where it was like, well, I do know what's going on, but only because of two white people that I follow who was sort of not really involved, but a part of, like, the wider community thing that happened. And I was like, I need to follow more black people on Twitter. And I just found some. That sounds really, really bad to say, but I just went out and found a bunch of black people and followed them on Twitter. And then, like, I've started just plugging all of these gaps in sort of, like, in my social media timeline almost.
Yeah.
I found these voices to follow, so that I can be a better ally. Like, and I feel like that's a part of what we were just talking about, of, like, like, a way to educate yourself is to follow people and read what they have to say.
There's no doubt about, like I said, like, representation matters. Everyone's voices matter. You can't, if you're gonna have a talk about a topic that you don't have the right representation on, your topic for me becomes automatically mute. It really does, because you don't realize, I'm never gonna go through what Amy goes through. I'm never gonna go through what a black person has gone through, what a woman has gone through, for an Asian person's gone through, any minority. I'm never gonna go through what they've gone through. And, like, so I need to educate myself, and that's the only way to do that. And call me out. say it, like call me out, say, yo, you aren't doing enough of this, like, and I can happily have a good conversation with you and talk to you about this and saying, yo, you know what, you were right. I'm not doing this. I am not doing this right and everything like that. And I need to evolve and need to learn. That's how we get on. That's how we get on and become a better society and everything like that. So hopefully, and I left a message in the timeline of one of the podcasts, and I basically said, I'll state what I basically the end part of what I stated there, and I said, this is going to get talked about again when the game gets closer to coming out.
Yeah,
it's guaranteed.
Yeah,
I hope when all these podcasts and content creators come out and talk about and they want to talk about this game, they bring in someone who is of a trans community so they can talk about this properly and everything like that. Because this needs to be talked about, because it just needs to. It just needs to, man. Because like everyone's rights, everyone deserves to have rights, and if you don't realize what this game potentially could do, what this game, this person is trying to do, you do not realize how devastating this game could be for a lot of people.
Yeah. Again, I'll link the GameSpot article that we talked about last week by the wonderful and amazing Jesse Earl, who comprehensively breaks down everything that's happened in the past 4 years as regards to J.K. Rowling and why this is even a talking point. Because, like, if you don't know, you don't know, but here's your opportunity to find out. And on the subject of, like, following more trans people, like, if you hit me up in my DM, like, my Twitter's in the description, just hit me up and I'll find you. I can find you dozens of cool trans people and I'll just start throwing them at you. It's genuinely
trans for you.
I'll just throw transes everywhere. Like, here we go. Like, no, there's a lot of really cool people like on Twitter who you could follow and enrich your understanding of the world. See the world through different eyes. And like, as someone who's been actively curating my timeline to be more diverse, like it's an eye-opening experience. Because we all have different experiences and through life, and we all see life through different lenses because of how differently society treats us based on things like gender and race. And the more we can understand each other, the see where each other are coming from, like the better off we'll all be, but also like the less arguments we'll have. Like, I know, like, I see a sentiment about people not like saying we all argue too much and like we're all immediately like on opposite sides of whatever too much. And it's like, if we could all just see where we're all coming from, like apart from TERFs, because, you know, there's no point in trying to understand where they're coming from. Like, but like,
and Tories,
like, and Tories, 100%, and Republicans actually. That's solidarity with our American brethren there. Like, if we could all see where we're coming from, like there would be less friction. Like these discussions, like the thing that really gets me is the discussions that we're having right now. Like, in terms of, we did a podcast, I watched a bunch of content, and now we're doing another podcast. All of these discussions are siloed from one another. Whereas if everybody I watched plus us, and we all just got into a fucking room together and talked, we would probably come out of that better for the experience. All of us, every single one of us. Yeah. But we're all having these discussions individually and separately, and nobody's talking to each other. And maybe that's what we need to do. We need to start talking to each other, and more importantly, perhaps, we need to start listening to each other. And I don't think we do enough of that.
That is probably fair as well. No doubt about it. We don't talk enough and we don't listen enough.
Both. Like, we don't talk enough to each other. We just talk at
each
cameras. We just talk to cameras.
No doubt about it, yeah.
And nobody pays attention. So then we end up having this discussion again 3 months from now when the Hogwarts Legacy release date is revealed. at a state of play or whatever, like a PlayStation showcase, and we just have the same discussions again.
Yeah, that's the thing about it.
It's like fucking Dark Souls difficulty discourse. It's like, we have this discussion every time a fucking Dark Souls comes out. It's like, what if we just actually like made some forward progress on this? The last thing I do want to say, I know what we're gonna jump straight at games out next week in a second. But the last thing I do want to say is like, if you don't know something or if you get called out on something, don't get defensive about it, but don't beat yourself up about it either. Just take it as a learning opportunity, because if someone pulls you up on something that you say or tweet or do or whatever, that's a blessing, not a curse, because somebody has taken the time somebody thinks that you can be educated or have your perspective shifted, because there's plenty of people who have said things to me in Twitter DMs, on Twitter, in emails, in YouTube comments that I just haven't responded to because I don't think it's worth the energy. Whereas, like, let's say, for example, Moody, you said something and I went, whoa, hang on. Actually, and then I like explained it to you. It's not a curse. It's actually a blessing that someone will do that for you. Because I have written a lot of people off in my head because I just don't think it's worth the energy, and I don't think they're going to listen to what I have to say. Not that I think like people have to listen to what I have to say, but you get what I mean.
Yes.
And the thing about living in the society we currently live in is that, and we've all been raised in this society where, like, this is a world designed for cis, white, straight men. Every single one of us has unconscious biases because of that. Like, we all have to work through them. We have internalized sexism, homophobia, transphobia, racism, xenophobia, everything that you can think of, because that's the world that we've been raised in. And we said it last week, we're all going to fuck up. We're all going to make mistakes. And it's how you react when you make that mistake that is important, not the mistake itself. There's no need to get defensive if someone points out that something you're saying might be transphobic or might be racist or might be sexist or might just be generally inappropriate. But it gives you an opportunity to correct that and get it right next time.
Yeah.
I think that's a good place to end that segment.
Good. I think the only thing, before you go to the games, I think you should talk about the top 2 tidbits.
Yeah, actually,
they're really good ones. They're really good ones.
No, we can just do tidbits. I always it's a very new section because we only started it this year, so I always forget that it's there. And then I always look at it and go, oh yeah, that's there. So we'll do the tidbits really quickly. We've got 2 more Ukraine stories. The Humble Bundle, Stand With Ukraine bundle, which we talked about last week, has raised over £15 million. And Epic Games raised $50 million for Ukraine charities with 3 days of Fortnite profits.
That is fucking insane. When you hear that, 3 days from Fortnite.
Yep.
Profits.
They made $50 million.
That's amazing.
And I love that they just went, here, have this.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. But I think that just also puts into context of just like people forget the power of Fortnite sometimes, I think.
Yeah, I mean, look, with this and there was the Epic, the Humble, Itch.io, this war of mine, like all the companies that have donated money. I think sometimes people forget how much we can do just through the medium of video games, right? Like, we always talk about like what can you do in these situations, and it's like if you bought a fucking, I don't know what do you buy in Fortnite, Moody? V-Bucks, right? V-Bucks. If you bought some V-Bucks for Fortnite while this was happening, you helped. Yeah. Like the situation in Ukraine. Like video games can do some amazing things. Like and that goes for the industry, the community, everything.
I also want to just shout out Epic Games just a little bit more as well, because they've just released their new season for Fortnite or whatever. They didn't market that because of what was going on at Ukraine. Yeah, that's amazing. Like, there's no doubt about they know the game was going to sell either way.
I mean, they didn't need to market it.
They didn't need to, but I bet they would have had already prepared adverts and videos ready to go, what they paid for to get to announce this whole thing, and they didn't do that. So I just kind of want to say,
Yeah, okay.
that
Yeah.
respect. A little respect there. And then coming out and saying, oh, next 3 days of profits going straight to UK. 50 million, motherfuckers. See you later. Well done.
Well done. Well done indeed. We'll do some more of these tidbits. Shinji Mikami wants to make more than just horror games. So the Ghostwire Tokyo is out. It's a game that exists. Depending on who you ask, has a different opinion. He wants his studio to be known for more than just horror games. Cool. That worked for Guerrilla Games. I always say it. That's the good example I always go back to. It worked for Guerrilla Games. The next Steam Next Fest will run from June 13th to June 20th. So I expect hundreds of demos and live streams of cool indie games and whatnot. PlayStation have acquired Jade Raymond's Haven Studios to make live service games.
Well, we did talk about it a couple of weeks ago with Joseph about the live service things.
Yeah, we did.
And he articulated it very well. I give him credit for how he said it and everything like that. But when you look at the live games, the games of service,
Gran Turismo 7,
Empire and everything like that, you just go,
oh,
they
shit.
haven't really been the best ones. The only one that still stands the test of time is Destiny.
Yeah, and that's the game that
they
made
as well.
Yeah, they made separate from PlayStation.
Yeah.
I'm hoping Gran Turismo 7 is not like a blueprint for how this is going to go in the future, because it's not going to. They're not going to release 10 games in 5 years. I can guarantee you that if they're all like GT7's microtransactions. Sorry, were you going to say something?
I was not. I know we're getting long on the tooth here.
We're getting a little bit long.
When it comes to Gran Turismo, it's just the games always sell at the same time, and it's more. I think the game is literally more aimed at the Asian market more than anything in the European market. You might lose the European market, but they're still going to be profitable in the Asian market.
It's definitely profitable. Like any game that launches with microtransactions is on a major platform and is like a massive AAA game, is always going to be profitable. Yeah. But like I think Gran Turismo 7 has lost a lot of that goodwill. And you need that. It's going to
be interesting the next one. It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah. We're gonna jump straight into games out next week, which is it's an aiming joint now. So games out next week. On March 29th, Abermore comes to PC. Inherit the role of a mythical thief and pull off the heist of the century in Abermore, a first-person RPG where stealth is your key to fame and fortune. You have 18 days to ransack houses, sell stolen loot, acquire new gear, and form alliances to prepare for the ultimate heist. Also on March 29th, we have Ikai coming to PlayStation, Switch, and PC. Fear and anxiety prevail after the darkest tales from Japanese folklore come to life in the first-person psychological horror game. Set in a feudal era, Ikai revolves around the priestess of a shrine struggling to defeat the spirits of her past and her present. Lastly, on March 29th, we also have King Arthur, A Knight's Tale on PC, a unique hybrid between turn-based tactical games and traditional character-centric RPGs. Knight's Tale is a modern retelling of a classic Arthurian mythology story filtered through the dark fantasy tropes, a twist on the traditional tales of chivalry. Then, on March 31st, Weird West comes to PlayStation, Xbox, PC, and Game Pass. Survive and unveil the mysteries of the Weird West through the intertwined destinies of its unusual heroes in an immersive sim from the co-creators of Dishonored and Prey. Also on March 31st, Glitch Hikers, The Spaces Between comes to PC. Glitch Hikers is a surreal journey through the spaces between places. A late-night drive, a deserted airport lounge, a moonlit walk through an empty park, a quiet carriage on an overnight train. Who will you meet? What will you talk about? Where will the journey take you? Find yourself along the way. Also on March 31st, Moss Book 2 comes to PlayStation VR. How long has it been since we said a game is coming to PlayStation VR?
Oh, wow, yeah.
Quill is back, and she's being hunted. Those who seek to unmake this world are desperate for the glass she holds, and they'll stop at nothing to claw it from her grasp. But the young hero has a plan of her own, one that could finally end the merciless rule of the arcane and restore peace to Moss once and for all. Don't know why I thought that. Also on March 31st, Coromon comes to Switch and PC. Coromon is a modern take on the classic monster taming genre. Tame Coromon and explore a vast world filled with thrilling turn-based battles, brain-twisting puzzles, and a mysterious threat to the world awaiting defeat. Nobody said being a battle researcher was easy. Also on March 31st, FixFox comes to PC. Arriving on a curious planet, Vix and her toolbox Tin explore space, fixing machines with unconventional tools and eating cozy meals with kind robot locals. On an epic adventure, the duo repairs an interstellar beacon, constructs giant mechs, and unravels a cosmic mystery that transcends existence. Lastly, on April 1st comes Terrabane to Switch and PC. Terrabane is a comedic adventure where bugs are your friends. Enjoy exploring a crazy and outlandish world of unique, quirky characters and homages to the history of video gaming. Challenge the developer with your creativity and be the bane of errors. And that's it. Remember I said, I think I'm buying a game either this week or next week. I remembered which one it was. I was like, it's there, it's in here. But which one is it? I'm not telling you. It's not Weird West, because that's coming to Game Pass.
Sweet.
It's time for OpenCritic Head-to-Head.
Yes.
It's time for OpenCritic Head-to-Head. This is the game me and Moody play every single week, where we try to guess the OpenCritic average of one upcoming game. Whoever guesses closest gets a point. If you manage to guess the score correctly, you get 2 points. Last week, we tried to guess the OpenCritic average of Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I guessed it would get an 80. Moody guessed it would get an 88. This was on a knife edge. Like all week, and I didn't realize. I didn't think, because we were so far apart. I was like, I didn't think it would be like teetering between the two of us. So it was quite fun. But at the time of recording, Kirby and the Forgotten Land has an OpenCritic average of 85, which gives Moody the point and puts the current scores at Amy 6, Moody 4. This week, we're going to try and guess the OpenCritic average of Weird West. It's in Keith's fantasy critic team. It's coming to Game Pass. It's an immersive sim by the co-creators of Dishonored and Prey. It's isometric. I'm just listing facts about the game.
I can see that.
I didn't know whether I was filling time in or not.
No. I've already got a number. I was waiting for you to finish.
Oh, sorry. Wow.
77.
Wow, we don't. So, here's the thing, right? You just came up with 77. I'm nowhere near 77, but I do want to point out, last year, right? All the games in the world got 88, right? And that became the unofficial OpenCritic score.
You and me are literally thinking the same thing. I was just thinking about that.
77. That's Keith's unofficial fantasy critic score, right? That's a lot of his games hit that sort of 77 mark. That's what I was thinking, anyway.
Okay, we weren't thinking the same
thing. What were you thinking?
Well, because you said 88 was last year's unofficial big name. Because right now we've got 3 games that are on 85 on OpenCritic and 3 games that are on 89. So which ones are going to go eventually?
Ooh, we're going to have to keep an eye on this one. What's Amy's team name going to be next year?
89's good, actually.
89 is good, actually. No, I'll think of something else that's good, actually, for next year. I'm sure there's something sarcastic will come up as the year goes on.
Then you'll ask me to remember it, and I'll have to put it on the on my calendar to remind me next year.
And it works.
It did. But I was looking at it for a while.
I know, you even asked me about it. Why the fuck? Why have I got this? And I was like, that was my fantasy critic team name.
Thank you. I forgot
about that. I'm going to go with an 83 though for this one.
Fascinating. I don't know anything about the game, so
I'm probably going high because it's an indie game, and we know what OpenCritic does to most indie games, the majority of indie games.
I went low thinking that they won't get enough reviews, so just getting a small number.
I think it's going to get enough reviews. It's I want to say it's a Devolver Digital game.
It's Annapurna.
They'll get it. Is it?
I think so, yeah. No, the Devolver Digital. Yeah. I've just been on the Steam. It's Devolver Digital.
Yes, because I remember it from that weird. Do you remember the Devolver Land Expo demo that they released? Yeah, I remember it from that. Yeah, it's a Devolver game, so I think you'll get enough reviews. The pedigree of the people involved. I'm excited for the game, but as you know, I try to set my excitement aside when I'm doing OpenCritic head-to-head because
it backfired.
It backfires
so much
a
last
lot.
year.
Well, I'm really excited for this game, so I think it's going to review well. The game gets a 69 on OpenCritic. What the fuck? What the fuck? But no, like, yeah, I think with the pedigree of the people involved, they're making an immersive sim, which is like their thing. So I think it'll get good reviews. We'll find out.
Hopefully not too good. Sorry.
Hopefully not too good. Hopefully not too good, Keith. I've literally like, you know how we had all those head-to-heads? Like basically every time he had a game come out, I had a game come out.
Yeah.
I won every single one of those head-to-heads.
I know.
Even the ones I didn't think I was going to win.
Because he stuck to the... I don't mean it in a bad way because we all love indie games, but he stuck to the indie game one and so picked AAA games that no one had much hype ahead.
I wish I'd stuck to my guns, though, and counter-picked Final Fantasy Origin. Because you know what? I'll eat a -3.
Was it 73?
Yeah, it's 73. Like, I would have eaten a -3. Like, if you'd have said, you can counter-pick this game and we'll guarantee you a -3 right now, I would have been like, yeah, all right. Sounds good.
I'll accept that.
I'll accept that. I've got Final Fantasy 16 on my team. That's either going to get me 0 points or destroy my entire... Yeah. It's one of those two things. But anyway.
Keith counterpicked the Jedi Fallen Order. I was wondering who did that.
It's probably the smart move at this point, I think.
I think obviously that's what he's hoping.
Yeah, I don't think it's coming out. Like, I picked it up and I had thought like, yeah, I think it'll come out. And then EA did their thing with EA Play, and I was like, it's probably not coming out then.
We will find out soon.
We will.
Because Star Wars Celebration is soon. That's when they will reveal it. That's when you're going to see the game.
And if I'm
this
wrong...
is the thing about it. Go on.
If I'm wrong, I get points. I get to crush Keith in OpenCritic and in Fantasy Critic, and I get a great game.
Yeah. And I think they probably won't give a date, but I think they'll say it this year.
Coming this
I don't think they're going to say not. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, maybe we should go. Like, we should finish.
Late.
That
this
was
long.
Yeah, we've done longer. We had a couple of big tangents.
That's what she said.
That's what she said.
You set me up.
That's it. You know what? We're not even going to do a proper outro. That's where it ends. Say bye, Moody. You can't get any better than that.
Bye, Moody.